Zelda 2 is a game that has been requested to be done from a few different people. I also feel like attempting to master this game as well, so this was an obvious next choice. Zelda 2 is a game I grew up with. I was quite young. It is a really different game compared to the previous one. It went from a top-down view in an open-world exploration to a more unique style of gameplay, an action side-scroller. When in the overworld, you have a top-down view and have an open world to explore. When in combat, it becomes an action side-scroller. Not only does it have that change, but now there are also 3 stats to upgrade by getting experience, which is life, attack, and magic. Life gives you more health, defense, attack gives you more attack power, and magic not only decreases the amount of magic spent, but upgrades your attack damage with attacking spells. Now that we know a bit about the game, it's time to hop in and see what I can do. I begin the game and head on over to the cave south of the starting area to pick up a magic container. I pick up the pea bag in a small forest, go to town for a heal, and then continue on my way towards the heart container before the palace. Note how I forget to get the shield spell? I make it to the first palace and get the pea bag while on the bridge, which gets me the Hit and Run achievement. I lose a life crossing the bridge because of those blue things. I don't currently remember the name of them. So I figure 1 life isn't a problem and continue on. Unfortunately, I lose a life to the boss, and yeah, I just start over. So we fast forward all the way through this, get the magic container, go to town and get the shield spell, getting me the shield spell achievement, get the heart container and make it to the palace, fight all the way through it and make it back to the boss, which I barely beat without losing a life. After beating the boss, I insert the gem for the Desert Gem achievement. I also get free experience to upgrade my attack again. Now that I have the candle, I can see in caves. So now it's time to go to the cave north of the start and pick up the trophy. Getting this will get access to the jump spell in the next town. I make my way through the cave and get to the swamp area. There is a life I need to pick up close by, so I go there and pick it up. It is then time to go to a hidden location to talk to a guy so I can cross over to Death Mountain. I pick up the mirror in town, which is hidden under a table, then talk to the woman to gain entry into the house. This allows me to talk to a wise man, which gives me the life spell and an achievement with it. After talking to the guard, I'm able to cross on over to Death Mountain. Death Mountain is a rough area. I'm also rusty at playing this game. However, I get lucky with multiple red magic containers, which saves my life multiple times. I push on through, just barely making it to the hammer without losing a life. This gets me the better to be the hammer than the nail achievement. I manage to make my way out of the cave and to the magic container hidden under the boulder without losing a life. This allows me to refill my magic and my health. I go to a town and learn the down thrust, as well as getting that achievement. However, I forgot a few things. I make a few stops, then will be on my way back to this town. The first stop is getting the heart container back near the start of the game before breaking the boulder blocking the path. Make a right and into the cave. At the dead end, it is there. I then need to go to the other side where the swamp is. I make my way there, use the hammer to destroy the boulder, and get the medicine hidden inside. I go to pick up a life by the graveyard. I need all the lives I can get. I try to be conservative this run. I head back to town and give the woman the medicine she was needing. I go in the house and talk to the wise man to get the fairy spell and the achievement. Now that all of that is done, I head on over to the next palace. There's not a whole lot to be said of Dungeon 2. Not a whole lot happens. The only notable things are the achievements here, which is grabbing this 1 pea bag to get the Daring Grab achievement, and defeating this boss, which I had to use the life spell on. After that, it was just putting in the gem to get the Swamp Gem achievement. Immediately after finishing Dungeon 2, it's on to Dungeon 3. Getting there isn't that bad either. Go south of the graveyard into a hidden entrance, then use the fairy spell to get there. Circle around to the entrance. There isn't much to be said about this dungeon either. I just kind of breeze through it all the way to the boss. I then beat the boss and place the gem to get the Island Gem achievement. I now travel across the ocean into the next town. Here I'm able to get the fire spell and its achievement. I go through the cave north of town, exit, pick up a life, and go to pick up a lost child. I then have to travel west into a town that is quite out of the way. Here, I get the Up Thrust and Reflect achievements. I take a long route in the maze area to grab a magic container. Then I travel more and avoid most of the area to finally get into the 4th dungeon. This dungeon can be a bit tricky. I have had a couple of close calls and need to make some decisions. Decisions that could have cost me a life. One almost did. Aside from the close calls, the most notable thing here is making it to the boss, then being able to defeat him without taking damage, which is quite lucky since it's all RNG. Defeating the boss without taking damage gets me the Bested Karok achievement. After that, putting in the gym gets me the Maze Gym achievement. Right after, I go directly towards the heart container to get more life, and because I need all stats max for their own achievements, I farm experience for a while. Not that I need to show all of that, but that is one achievement down, which is max attack. While in Dungeon 5 and crossing the bridge, I have to grab the P bag, which gets me the Quick Scoop achievement. I do get a bit lost in this dungeon. It's easy to do. I do make it to the boss after making sure that I take care of the experience situation carefully. I couldn't defeat the boss damageless and had to use life. I do beat him and carry on to place the gym, giving me the Water Gym achievement. Again, I go to farm, this time deciding it is better to max both stats before continuing. Doing so will allow me to get a free life by spending all 9,000 on a single stat, so I get the max health achievement. I don't get the final stat until I'm in the 6th dungeon though. I decided to get just enough to where I'll upgrade it during the time I'm in the dungeon. This leads me to a side achievement. After taking out the monster with the flute, I have to get through all 3 sections without taking damage and without using any form of magic. It takes me a few tries. It didn't take me nearly as long as I thought. Maybe after 6 to 7 tries, I made it through and got the Sky is Falling achievement. The next thing to do is to go to the hidden town, so I go through the cave, break down a tree, and enter it. I then grab the last magic container, getting me the All the Magic achievement. I talk to a wise man here, and he gives me the magic spell, and its achievement, spell. I then use spell at the end of town to get the master key. After leaving town, I pick up a life in the swamp area, and grab the final heart container in the desert to get the Full of Heart achievement. After all of that, it is time to enter the 6th dungeon. In Dungeon 6, I upgrade my magic, getting me the Max Magic achievement. I also come across a mini-boss of the dungeon and beat him without taking damage. This gets me the Bested Rebenok achievement. Taking note, you can get this anytime you come across him. When I'm about to get another life, I use the shield spell to get the Snazzy achievement when I acquire it. Unfortunately, this leaves me with little to no magic, and to get the boss I have to use Fairy. So, this results in me taking an insane amount of hits to lose a life on purpose and getting magic and life refill. I mess up on the boss, take a hit, and land in the lava. Great. I become very careful the next time and defeat the boss without taking damage, which gets me the Bested Barba achievement. Soon after, I place the gym and get the Hidden Gem achievement. After leaving the dungeon, I make my way to an abandoned town where there is a wise man that gives me the Thunder Spell and its achievement. After refilling my health and magic, I make my way to the final palace. Making my way across isn't so bad. I had to use the magic spell on enemies to make it easier. I managed to make it to the final palace with little life. It results in me losing a life. I carefully make my way through the dungeon and grab the fairy to get a health refill. I then move to the other side to grab the final life and the 6-up achievement. Now at Thunderbird, I use Shield, Reflect, Jump, and Thunder. I'm unable to go at him damageless, so I just continue on. I meet up with Dark Link and lose a few lives to him trying to get damageless. At this point though, I would rather have the achievement for a 1 credit clear, so I just beat him. This gives me the Sleeping Beauty and Adventure Master achievements. With that, I finish stream and look to get more achievements another time. The majority of this day was hell. Not in the sense that it was all that hard, but the time it took to get things done. I started off getting my attack up and visiting a bit of the first dungeon. I went to Death Mountain and found out I need more defense since I'm in the dark and can't see a damn thing. This resulted in more farming for experience, so I farmed for more life to get more defense and just barely made it through the Death Mountain area for the hammer. I continued on, making sure to be careful to get everything I need without finishing any of the dungeons. At the 6th dungeon, I was on my way to the boss when I needed to get another key to get to him. I also got the Death Knot from Above achievement for not having the down thrust when fighting the mini-boss. So I went back to a prior dungeon and got a key, then back to the 6th dungeon to finally defeat the boss and put the gem in to get the 8-Year Frog achievement. After that, I decided to head on over to the Grand Palace. If you thought it was hard to navigate caves before, then this is a special treat. You can't see any normal enemies, plus the enemies you should be able to see with the cross, you can't see because I can't have the candle or the cross. This achievement is one of the dumbest achievements in this set for that reason. If you want to do this in the normal way anyway, I have a plan to cheese it though. It will take a few lives and some magic, but it's worth it. In the grand scheme of things, yes, it is annoying, but if you have patience, and you know I have patience, it's not too big of a deal. I plan to get to the rest of the achievements next time after I do some grinding in the game offline to max out stats, so this sums up this day. So for the first task, I grab a few lives and finally attempt to go through to the Grand Palace without a candle or the cross. I failed a few times prior and decided I should be able to get it by being bold and collecting lives for the next attempt. What I did was turn into the fairy to avoid getting knocked off into the lava. That was pretty much it. Avoid getting knocked back. I made it through not long after and got the achievement, Not Afraid of the Dark. The next task is to get to the first dungeon and get the candle now that I can use it. Then fight Horsehead without taking damage after making sure I got all the P-bags in this location. The boss fight goes well. I beat Horsehead without taking damage, and when I collect the key, I get the Bested Horsehead achievement. It is time to quickly move on and continue to Dungeon 2. It is here I realize I don't have enough keys to work with. With that, I decide to just reset. Resetting was a bad idea though, as I realized later that I need to get the candle and defeat Horsehead again. It is a good thing to note that you can just reset if you get hit and defeat the boss to easily get back to them again. So I get the down thrust move and move on to the third dungeon. I make sure I have acquired all the P-bags here and defeat the boss. I collect the candle once again and beat Horsehead again. Now I'm free to get back to the things I want to do. I go on over to another town and grab the up stab. Meanwhile, I collect P-bags and move on to Dungeon 4. Thinking I need to get more keys to move on while forgetting something vital to the game, which I'll explain in a short bit. I again get stuck in Dungeon 5 by a locked door. Stumped, I figure Dungeon 6 has more keys to help with. Of course, I make sure to grab the P-bags like in all dungeons, so that should probably be my final mention of that. While thinking about what to do, I go get the magic container in the hidden town and leave. It is when I make it to Dungeon 6 and get the game over that I realize I can just bypass the locked doors. So I go to Dungeon 2 and use the ferry to pass through the door to the boss. I do end up getting hit and needing to retry. However, I get a damageless boss fight on the second try, getting me the Bested Helmet Head achievement. It didn't take that long before I got to the other dungeons. I use jump so I can jump high and avoid Gooma's attacks. Beating him without taking damage gets me the Bested Gooma achievement. Only 4 achievements remained. I collected the remaining P-bags, which gets me the P-bag Scavenger achievement, now leaving 3. I make it to Thunderbird and work on a nice little strat for him. After I failed a few times, I had gotten a game over and needed to get back to Thunderbird. The strat is simple. Activate jump and reflect before heading over to Thunderbird. Ready the Thunder spell. Go all the way to your right until you can't anymore, then face left. As soon as he appears, use Thunder. After that, all you need to do is some timing and he'll never hit you. This gets me the Bested Thunderbird achievement. Finally, it's Darklink. For him, go all the way left at the start of the fight. Duck down and face right. When he is close, start attacking so you hit him. Stop if he backs off. When he gets close, start attacking again. Doing this makes it a lot easier to get damageless. This gets me the Bested Yourself achievement. Beating the game without using certain magics gets me the final achievement that I needed to master it. Work harder, not smarter. Zelda 2 can seem daunting, but the strats used made it much easier than I had expected. While having no candle and cross to get an achievement seems quite brutal, if you're well prepared and sacrifice health and magic, it's really not that bad. If you feel this is a tough set, I don't blame you. It shouldn't prevent you from trying the set though. If you like Zelda 2, give it a try. If you enjoyed this video, please share, like, sub, and leave a comment below. I stream all of my attempts on Twitch, so if you want to see live runs for these achievements, give me a follow there. Have a game you would like to see me try and master? Let me know in the comments below.